Hey there, welcome back. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what are widgets and how do I use them. Okay, so simply put, widgets in WordPress are little things that add content and features to different areas on your page called widget areas. And so let me show you how that works. Actually, before I go and look at the dashboard, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here of this particular page, the front page of my demo site, and we'll see this area down here, this dark area. We see here that there's a bunch of extra stuff. There's a search box here. There's this list of categories, and we haven't really been paying attention to this. If I click through on these, I would see all the posts that are filed under band news. We talked about how categories worked in a previous screencast. Here's all our recent posts all listed. There's the 5 last ones in reverse chronological order. Here's some recent comments, okay, our sample comments, archives. Well, that's interesting. And then this section called meta. What is meta? Well, that's just your site admin, like if you wanted to log out and all sorts of things like that. So, and this is one widget. This is what we call a widget area in this particular theme. And let me show you how you access those on the dashboard here. If we go under Appearance, down here, the third option down is called Widgets. If I click on this, this brings me to a page where I can manipulate a whole bunch of different widgets. And I see here that we have a bunch of default widgets. These are available widgets. They come pre-packaged with every brand new WordPress installation. And there's a bunch of different ones here. Let's take a look at some of the common ones. I mean, recent comments, okay? That's something that will list all your recent comments. We saw that down here, okay? All your recent comments right there. What else is there? There's custom menu. That's an interesting one. We'll see. Let's experiment to see what that works with. But that essentially allows you to add any of your custom menus. If you want to create another custom menu, you can now access it as a widget, which is interesting because we're used to using menus up here, but this sort of suggests that we can use menus in different places on our page as well too. Text, there's just this plain text widget here. You see I can pick them up and just drag them around, okay? That just allows you to add any arbitrary text or, interestingly, HTML. And even if you don't know how to code in HTML, this is good to know because there's lots of times that you can actually cut and paste HTML code from other websites and pop it into this text widget and do all sorts of cool things that way. There's a calendar here, and it's important to know this is a calendar of your site's posts. It's not like an events calendar. I wish that would be really nice, but it's actually a calendar that shows all the posts that have been added to your actual to your page or to your website. A tag cloud. Ooh, well, we talked about tagging, tagging our content. This would allow you to create a tag cloud where basically your most used tags are available in a cloud format. We'll experiment with a little bit with that too. And then search. Here's a search form right here. Okay, we've seen that before. We saw that right down here. There's a search form. So what do we do with these? Well, if we look over on this side, we see that we have various widget areas. Okay, and if these triangles just open and close like this, just toggles open and close. We've got something called a main widget area, and then you've got what's called a secondary widget area. And currently, it looks like there's actually stuff inside here. We could actually move this in and out. These actually are it's a very intuitive interface. We can just drag and drop this however you want, okay? Currently, there's nothing in the secondary widget area. Why don't we actually have a look? This main widget area, we'll take a look at what's in here. We've got search, recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories, meta. Well, that's actually exactly what's inside here. See, you've got search, recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories, meta. So we can deduce that this main widget area is this right here. Okay, and here we says appears in the footer section of the site. So if we had just read this, we would have figured that out. So that's pretty cool. And then down here we have this thing saying secondary widget area appears on posts and pages in the sidebar. Well, I don't see a sidebar here, but that kind of makes sense because we don't have anything in here right now. If we were to start dragging things in, because this is how I could just drag things in and out of this widget area, we might see some stuff show up in the sidebar area. So let's start playing with this, okay? Let's start figuring this out. And you might be wondering, okay, these widget areas, are they the same like on every WordPress site? And the answer to that is no. They are implemented differently on different WordPress themes. That is something that the theme determines, okay? If we go back up to this theme section over here, and we have a look at what theme is active right now. We see right here the current theme is 2013, and the options that are available right here, widgets, that's an option in a theme, okay? And it describes, each theme will implement widgets in a different way. You might switch over to a different theme. If we were to switch over to the 2011 theme, we would see that we would have different widget areas available to us and positioned differently on the page. Likewise with any other theme that we might install, and we spent quite a bit of time talking about themes a few screencasts ago. So that kind of gives us a clue, another clue as to how these different template files make your site look so different. Okay, if these areas that you can add stuff to are in different places, well, it makes sense, right? That's how we customize our site. So in this case, for the 2013 theme, you have to understand when I'm talking about these widget areas, main widget area and secondary widget area, that's unique to the 2013 theme. If you are using a different theme, you're going to have different widget areas. But the way it works in terms of like how widgets work and how you drag them in there and configure them, that's the same. That's going to be the same across themes. But what's not the same is the way they're implemented. In other words, where they end up showing up on the page is going to be different from theme to theme. And in fact, the names of the widget areas will likely be different from theme to theme. Okay, so now that we've seen the widget areas, let's actually see this in action. I'm actually going to try a few things here. I'm going to take a look here and I'm going to say, you know, all this stuff, what if I don't want this here? What if I want nothing inside here at all? Well, that's pretty straightforward. I can just drag these out, and all I'm going to do is just drag them out. And you may be saying, what am I doing here? Well, I'm just dragging them out here. This is kind of like this infinite generator of widgets. You can just, if you drag this in here, it doesn't disappear from here, okay? So I'm just going to delete that, and there we go, disappears. So now that we've done this, and what's interesting about that is that when you drag and drop things into these widget areas, there's no like save button, okay? And that actually threw me the first time I started using widget areas in WordPress, because I was looking for a blue save button, and that doesn't exist. But essentially, you just wait for the little indicator to stop spinning, and then it's done. And if I just reload this over here, you're going to see something interesting. Look, that footer area is gone, because you don't have anything in the widget. So in the widget area, if you take everything out, if there's nothing in the widget area, if you're not using it, then WordPress just pretends that it doesn't exist and takes it out completely. Interesting, right? Now let's start putting some stuff back in. What I like to do when I'm learning how to use a new theme, when I'm starting to get to know how a theme works, is I like to start with just something as simple as a text widget. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to drag this over here, okay, this text widget, and this is just a text widget. I'm just going to do text, and I'm just going to put some dummy text in here. Let's just put a couple sentences of dummy text. Ooh, that's a lot. Way too much dummy text. There we go. How's that? I'm going to go ahead and click save, and there we go. It's done. I can toggle this open and closed. Okay, that just allows me to do that. Why don't I go back here and reload this and see what happened? Okay, so there's the text I just added. Okay, pretty simple, right? Here's a really nice trick. What I like to do when I'm, like I mentioned, when I'm learning different widget areas, I like to actually put the name of the widget area right here, and I like to put one text widget, or whoops, here, I'm going to open this up right down here. I like to put one arbitrary text widget, custom text widget in every single one of these areas, and that gives me a sense of, okay, I know where everything is, because sometimes these widget areas, you know, that you don't know where they are right out of the box, and so, and you might have more than two. You might have like 3 or 4 or 5 different widget areas. This allows you to figure out what every widget area is called. Oh, another long one here. Let's shorten that. And where they're located and how they're styled, etc., etc. So there we go. I've got 2 text widgets. One of them is called main widget area. The other one is called secondary widget area. Let's go back here and let's reload this and let's see what this looks like on my site. Okay, so here's my secondary widget area right here. And here's my main widget area down here. This is interesting. This particular theme is interesting in that they've put the main widget area in the footer, and the secondary widget area is in the sidebar. Usually, up until recently, usually the convention has been to do it the other way, where you have the main widget area in the sidebar and then secondary widget areas in the footer. Sometimes there's like multiple sidebars and things like that. But I like this. I actually think this is really nice. It's nice, simple styling, and it's pretty cool. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. You can experiment with the different widget widget areas on your site. If you're using the 2013 theme, then you can kind of experiment with that and see how that works. You can create more just plain text widgets and move them around, see what that's like. And in the next screencast, I'm going to go in, I'm going to describe a little bit more about what these available widgets do, and we'll also learn more about what else we can do with custom text widgets. Okay, but in the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.